Hello guys and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I am playing Gavle 4v4. I have SAS Man, Benji and Armor Boy on my own team, and Killia, Lowlyhood of Steel, Werewolf and General Morrowso on the enemy team. And I went back to basics in this particular battle purely because I haven't played the game in a while, and it probably shows by the amount of Wargame content that has been coming up on my channel. Since the release of Rome 2, I haven't been wanting to play other games than Rome 2. I have two campaigns going, the one that you can see and my other one which is on very hard difficulty. But let's not talk about Rome 2, we're on to Wargame now. On to Wargame finally. And I'm going to be using, like I said, back to basics kind of deck. Really what I wanted to do was show you how well it went when I went back to a deck that I feel is extremely strong. Now this is the deck that if I were to play ranked I would use it. Basically consists of very heavy armor, no light armor, just pure heavy armor. So I've got both the M1A1 Abrams, I've got the Leopard 2A4s and the Challengers all on the same deck. This is a normal deck, no bonuses. Then I've got the M113A1s with Assault Engineers. They're extremely good for countering city rushes, which is exactly what happens a lot of the time on this map. You can see that there's Echo and Delta, both have towns like this. Basically what the enemy does, you see they push up infantry from Juliet straight towards Echo. Now to counter that, I push up my own M113A1s with Assault Engineers into this town. Assault Engineers at very close range are extremely effective against enemy infantry. So that took care of them. Now over here we have the Fuchs Milan. These have Jagd Commandos in them, so the double ATGM combo, which I think is completely OP. Then we've got the Challenger 1. I've got two Chaparrals and two Jupiters to sit with them. And then I've got one Murder Roland 2 and two Jupiters to sit with that. And then I have PVR BV 551s, which are basically Swedish infantry carriers with ATGMs on them. And they're very, very powerful. If I just hover over, you can see that they have got a lot of AP power, which I'll probably have to show you after the battle starts because it doesn't look like I can actually show you at the moment. So yeah, I'm just going to speed up the deployment because it did take a while to get the game started. But you can see we've already decided between us who was going where on the map with all these pings going out. We've got Benji going to Charlie, Benji also going to Bravo, Armor going up to Delta, me going over to Foxtrot after someone asked. And yeah, so I was pretty much put in my place, told where to go, and I took it in stride and really, really rolled the left side of the map. So here we go. You can see that they have 22 AP power and 12 accuracy. Very, very powerful HGM units. And the reason I need these alongside my Challenger 1 and other heavy tanks is purely because of T80Us. And you always need something to counter it. Now I'm going to switch over to my point of view so we can see what's going on. We have SAS Man, or SAS Man, pushing up on the right with Benji. And they are basically skirmishing with the first few units from the enemy. Then we have my M113A1s quickly advancing into the town. You can see the rocket arty flying overhead. Man, I do love the graphics in this game. And then the rocket arty from the enemy coming in, trying to pepper this area and stun some of the units. But this was my main concentrated point to begin with, and you can see that I drop out both my Assault Engineer squads, and I group them together, and then I push them through the town as a 4-man squad. The reason I keep them in two groups of 2 before going into the town is so that I'm much more flexible. And the other Assault Engineer squad sits on the right side with this 4-man squad on the left. Now, these come in handy once I decide to move them on, but then I've also got to think about what's happening over here. Now, I bring in Fuchs Milan in groups of 2s, and then split them into groups of 1, because basically each Fuchs Milan squad has 2 ATGMs to fire. You got the Fuchs Milans themselves, and then the internal squads. Now here I had these guys on attack move, so you can see they're stopping to hit these Scott 2s that have pretty much obviously dropped out some troops along the way. After they back off with them, I get them into this forest and then drop out the Jagd commandos that are inside and begin to move up the Mother Roland 2 with the Jupiters. I've got the chaparrals moving up on the left, and I do remember eventually, I think, to move forwards those supply vehicles. See, I still haven't moved my men on the right, but SAS man has set up quite a lot of troops over here, ready to attack further in. Looks like he's using a American deck there. So with the Mother Roland 2 not needing any supply currently, I decide to use the MD Jupiters to reload these Jagd commandos and Fuchs Milans. And over here, finally, I've decided to move forwards the assault engineers to attack their Piechota Smech. So they should deal with them pretty easily. You can see the napalm is taking out these buildings and setting them on fire, and that's doing a lot of damage to stun these units. We've also got Scott 2s over here providing supported fire, but with them being in flames, they are very panicked and their rate of fire is greatly reduced. So that skirmish there basically goes very much in my favour. However, my assault engineers do run out of napalm rockets very, very quickly. I didn't really get contested on the left to begin with. Foxtrot seemed relatively undefended until I came across T-64Bs and their Command CV. And this Command CV was obviously going to be used to capture Foxtrot because he thought it would be contested, which is the correct thing to do. However, if I've already set up ATGMs everywhere, you can see there's one ATGM in the side from this Fuchs Milan. Takes that out. Now this Fuchs Milan is a 20-point unit, and he just took out a 200-point unit with one ATGM and some help from the Challenger 1. Then this Jagd Commando squad has also been doing well at picking off the occasional unit, and we managed to take out a couple of tanks along the way here. So with me seeing those units hide in this tree line here, I decided to bring in some Challengers. These probably weren't the best choice to begin with, but the kinetic power of the gun basically at close range is very, very effective, and these Challengers are probably like the cheapest high armor tanks that you can get. They cost 130 points each, and they have 19 front armor, which is incredible. Now, Killia does bring in a SU-275, which I found surprising because it doesn't effectively shoot at my own forces, and he gets us shot down very easily by my chaparrals, my Mother Roland 2s as it flies past, and that crashes and burns for 170 points. Believe it or not, the assault engineers are still attacking the Piechota Smech over here, so I decide to help out them with the support of my M11 3A1s, and eventually I take out that unit and secure the town for our team. Now, by taking that town alone, it basically meant that their team couldn't get a CV into this area, which is extremely important for cutting off their supply. Now, they decide to attack me with these T-64Bs as I push forwards my Challengers and my Leopard 2A4s, but I've got this Jagd Commando unit on the flank, and that just continuously takes out unit after unit. This Jagd Commando squad has an ATGM, the Milan F1, has 16 AP power, but in the side armor at a flanking position is incredibly powerful. Now he decides to bring in T-80Bs, and I realised pretty soon that this is a pure tank deck, and with the help of another Jagd Commando shot in the side from an HGM, both of these T-80Bs have died instantly. Mind you, you can't forget that I do have 5 Challenger 1s and a Leopard 204 because we've basically gained so many sectors at the beginning of this game. We pretty much have control of all the supply, and that means that I have all of the reinforcements I can bring in. And basically that lost them the game because they couldn't secure Echo to get an extra 7 points on the board there. They didn't really contest Delta against Armor Boy, who did a nice airdrop into this town. They just lost out on so much. And they didn't even contest me on the left in Foxtrot until they realised I'd taken it and sent a few tanks towards me, where I'd already set up defensive positions. So in a game before this I'd played, we did win, but basically what happened, I was playing a French deck and I got absolutely annihilated by air units coming in to really destroy a lot of my AA. It really hurt me, so I made sure in this game that I had a sufficient amount of AA that it couldn't be destroyed without them losing a lot in the process. So I always keep about 4 chaparrals on the field within a certain distance of each other, and then I've got a Marderolan and 2s sitting about also to help out. So now it was time for me to move forwards out of Foxtrot and really plan my attack into India. And one thing that I must say before we continue is that I currently have 0 recon on the map. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing. It was an incredibly bad thing to do. If I got into a position where I pushed up to Foxtrot and they'd already got there, I would have lost all of my tanks just like he did because I didn't have the recon to spot the units if they were hidden in forests. Luckily for me, he had his tanks out in the open for the most part and allowed me to get some picks before we engaged at close combat. And Challenger 1s are incredibly powerful at close combat. I move up a couple of Challenger 1s here to face the Pehorta-Smech that have been sat in this building. The reason I moved up the Challenger 1 so close is because their high front armor pretty much makes these rockets, the 14 AP pound rockets of the Pehorta-Smech, pretty much useless. And I needed to get them that close without recon to actually see the units in that building. So now you can see the Jagd Commando and the Fuchs-Milans coming in handy again. This is a new squad that I've moved over here. The Jagd Commando managing to score a kill on a T-72 as it drove past. A Challenger 1 taking a pick on this T-72. But doing very well overall. Another thing that I really liked about this game was I've managed my resources really well. You can see this Puma has already been at my front line and already replenished many of my units. It's already flown back and I use it again later on to bring it back to the front line and provide some more repair for my men. Now I've brought in some M109s in the meantime, and these I use to attack this position here with artillery, where I can see all of these HGMs coming from. So I quickly reverse all my challengers so that they don't take too many hits, and I get my chaparrals out of there so that they don't get killed either. Then I continue to use the M109s to fire at that position before advancing upon it. See, one of my challengers is suffering from an optical failure with weapon jam and fire computer reset. That was mainly because of all the HGMs that hit him. There you can see the artillery finally coming in and hitting these units quite effectively, managing to kill one unit outright. Now, I mentioned these at the beginning of the game. They actually sit here for most of it because I forget about them. But if he ever brought in T-80Us, I would have scrambled to find them as quickly as possible, and I should have kept them nearer the front line, probably. Definitely something I should have done. It's really good to keep all your offensive troops nearby to each other so that they can have a great effect on the battlefield when they're needed. So there's little skirmishes going on across the front here. But I really want to be the first one to push out of my own sector to hit India really, really hard. I've got so many points. You can see I'm bringing in so many challenges. Currently I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 challenges and 2 Leopard 2A4s. Then I've got 8 chaparrals, or actually that's 4 chaparrals, sorry. And a couple of Marder Roland 2s, or 3 Marder Roland 2s. Now the Marder Roland 2s, the reason I keep them in groups of 1 is because they are radar AA, and they will get sniped very quickly by seed missiles. And that's also why I have chaparrals on my deck, which shouldn't be so close to these supply vehicles, because if that supply vehicle died, it would blow up my chaparral as well. Kind of a bit of a mistake there. Need to keep your supply vehicles a little bit further away than that, but it's just something I probably didn't notice throughout the match. But finally I noticed my lack of recon, and I bring in my favoured recon helicopter, the Cayuse. Very small helicopter, good for scouting out, and it does reveal a large amount of tanks. With this information, it's time for me to move out. So here go the challenges and the Leopard 2A4 on the left there. Then we have the chaparrals moving up behind. The support will follow up, and also there's a Marder Roland 2 coming as well. Stop in, taking out the extra forces. All of my tanks are currently on fire move, so or attack move. Basically, they stop to attack. So this Leopard on the right has already had his weapons jammed and his optical failure and stabilization malfunction, and I've retreated him back. I get attacked by an SU, shoot that down. And the Leopard, unfortunately, on the left here got focused very, very hard, and he was the first casualty of this advance. Some nice rocket artillery comes in to stun a lot of my forces, but as soon as that goes, my guys gain their confidence once again and begin killing off these T-34 LE5s, T-72Ms and T-72s. I do lose a lot of men throughout this battle though, and what I found quite clever was that at the end of the entire skirmish, I had 0 AA left. At the moment I still got these chaparrals and Marder Roland 2s on the left, but they've taken out my chaparrals on the right, and they also took down my recon, my Cayuse. I brought in an F-15A Eagle to take care of some of these air units that are going to be coming in, but in response, Lollyhood of Steel comes in with 4 MiG-23 MFs, and my Eagle did not stand a chance. He gets shot down straight away. Fortunately for me, I do manage to get a small revenge kill there on one of the units as my challengers continue the skirmish across this large field. And this is where challengers are extremely effective. I've got them really nicely spread out so they can't be bombed in any way. These two could possibly get bombed together, but the other 3 would continue firing nonetheless. They have a nice rate of fire. They're very, very well armoured. But after focusing so much of my AA, they just forgot about the tanks, and I think that's really what hurt them, because even though they took out my AA, they didn't capitalise on it at all. And this was exactly what happened in my French game. They focused my AA, which I had to have close to the front line because they were harassing me. But there was just nothing I could do about it. So here, realising all my AA is gone, I do retreat because I have a feeling that he may attack me with more units. But it doesn't happen at the end of the day. And my challengers, I eventually stop them and then send them back towards them, realising that not much is actually coming. With my Puma being destroyed on the right, I bring in a couple more to help resupply these challengers that are no longer being hit and repair them as well. But I actually lost quite a bit in this push. All my chaparrals, like I said, lost a challenger, a couple of challengers, and a leopard. But with the sheer amount that I have, I just decided to charge for the victory. We're currently on 5,995 points, and with that last kill there on the right, we get exactly 6,000 points to win the game. And there you go. I got 2,535 kills to 980 losses. Probably one of the better games I've had in a long time. So there you go. Really, really nice game, I felt, on my side. Obviously it wasn't ideal for them. They didn't really counter me in Foxtrot quickly enough. And I think my team in general, obviously you can see because of the ranks, were generally better at securing the sectors that were important at the beginning of the game. And because the enemy didn't do that, they lacked the points to counter the amount of heavy armor I brought in. So even though they managed to destroy a couple of challengers and a leopard, I still think I came out on top in that case. But anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. I know it wasn't the longest replay ever, but I really wanted to show that obviously I still play Wargame occasionally, and I did want to put out a video for you guys that was enjoyable and wasn't me just messing up all the time. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching guys, and thanks for staying subscribed and continuing to watch my content and so on. I really, really appreciate it. So yeah, thanks guys once again, and goodbye.